What's up, everybody? This is the Booch, and welcome to episode 16 of my show, Booch Shoots On. And ladies and gentlemen, this is one I'm very excited to get the chance to talk about. I know it's been a while. Since Cody finished the story. It's been a while, but I still want to talk about it. Yeah, so Cody finally finishes the story. He is now currently the WWE Undisputed Champion, or Undisputed WWE Champion, or whatever the fuck they're calling it. I personally want to call it the WWE Champion because I'm not a big fan of them still using the word undisputed. Because you can't call yourself the Undisputed Champion if there's another world title that disputes it. So it's kind of weird they're still doing that, but I guess it works with Cody's phrase of undesirable to undeniable to undisputed. So it works for that regard, but I still find it weird they're calling it an undisputed title. But anyway, Cody finishing the story. I think as wrestling fans, we can all agree it's about fucking time that this happened. And I think it happened at the perfect time. WrestleMania 40, biggest WrestleMania of all time, and Cody now being anointed as the new top guy, the new top babyface, the number one guy in the company, the guy who was able to fill the John Cena void. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Obviously, as we all know, John Cena is one of the greatest of all time. And for a long time, he was the number one guy in the business. He was the name and face of the WWE. And when you're the number one guy, when you're the name and face of the company, there's more to that spot than just being a great wrestler or even a great promo. You have to have those things, but also it's everything else. The media, the children, the Make-A-Wish stuff, being the man of the people, being the guy that does everything for the company that needs to be done. The guy who is responsible for selling the tickets and packing the house. That is your job as the number one guy. And not everybody can have that spot. There are people who can be top guys, who can be main eventers. You can have more than one, but only one man can sit at the top. And that is not a spot that everyone can do. And for the longest time, we had nobody to fill that John Cena void because nobody wanted to be the guy that, as Batista so eloquently put it, would go around kissing babies and hugging fat girls. Nobody wanted that spot. Everybody just wanted to go out there and do their shit. Go out there, wrestle, and that's it, which is fine if you want to be a mid-card guy. But if you want to be the main eventer, you got to have everything. You got to be an attraction. You got to be somebody that can draw money. And for a long time, John Cena had that spot because nobody else wanted to be that superhero for kids or that inspirational thing. They just wanted to be badass wrestlers and get 5-star ratings from Meltzer. So for a long time, nobody could fill that John Cena void. Cody Rhodes can clearly do that. Not just because he's a great promo, not just because he's great in the ring, but because he is truly a man of the people. He's a guy that when a guy held up a sign and said, "Be the best man at my wedding," he went to be the best man at his wedding. There were kids that were like, "Cody, my son wants tickets to Mania. He's been sick or whatever." And Cody gave them tickets. He was helping people make things happen, talking to WWE. Like, Cody's being a true, likable babyface. And it's the perfect spot for him, especially since Roman has been such a dominant heel for most of the time. And Roman is definitely a top heel and definitely a top guy. It's hard to argue, though, if he's truly a guy that can sell tickets when he has a part-time schedule and the buildings were full, even on pay-per-views, that he wasn't there. So it's hard to really judge if he was the money draw because of his part-time schedule. But as a top heel, phenomenal. Phenomenal. He had a great title run and he had a great persona. The only issue that most people had, or at least that I had, was that the title reign got stale for Roman Reigns. And that's the reality. You couldn't keep this thing going. It was dying. It was on goddamn life support. They had to bring in The Rock to revitalize this thing because the Bloodline storyline was going nowhere. Once you had the tribal combat with Roman and Jey Uso, there was nowhere left for this thing to go. There really wasn't. You had nowhere to take this thing because it was dying. To the point where you had to have Jimmy Uso rejoin the Bloodline and then keep the Usos off separate brands so you put them on at WrestleMania, and then they just recently kicked Jimmy Uso out of the bloodline as Solo Sikoa brings in Tama Tonga and whatever the fuck's gonna happen over here. But Cody finishing the story was the right thing to do because you needed to appoint a new champion, and Cody was there. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as much as I enjoyed the WrestleMania 40 thing, you could have had Cody win at WrestleMania 39, it still would have been just as great. Because the one thing that bothered me the most about this ordeal was that the hypocrisy that was shown and the fact that WWE fans truly live in a bubble was Cody Rhodes. Cody came back to WWE at WrestleMania 38 and had the match with Seth Rollins and was coming back to win the title they took from his father in the garden. He wanted to do something that nobody in his family had ever been able to do, and that was become the WWE champion. He wanted that title. Cody could have won at WrestleMania 39, it still would have been great. But everybody was talking about how because he was off TV with the pec injury, he didn't have enough struggle, he didn't have enough adversity, he needed to be built up properly. And I'm like, it's Cody fucking Rhodes. If you felt that Cody didn't have enough adversity going into WrestleMania 39, you don't know your history. Because Cody had the story already done. This is a guy who came into WWE. He did the legacy thing for a while. He became Dashing Cody Rhodes. He had the disfigured Cody with the putting paper bags on people's heads. He became himself, almost won the Money in the Bank. But then they gave it to Damian Sandow, which I still think was one of the stupidest booking decisions on the fucking planet. Because Cody was ready. Then, to top it all off, you turn Cody into Stardust, which worked for a while when he was teaming with Goldust. But then once Goldust and Stardust split up, you could have turned him back into Cody, and they could have had a great match at WrestleMania, but you decided not to do that. And as a result, eventually, Cody asked for his release and left. And he went on the indies. And he was doing the bingo halls and the bowling alleys and the VFW halls and high school gyms, all the places that indie shows have, he went. He later went to TNA, had a great run there, went to Ring of Honor, became the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, and he reinvented himself as the American Nightmare and got himself over and made himself a goddamn superstar. From undesirable to undeniable. They had the All-In show that he put together. Yeah, he had Kenny and the Bucks with him, but let's be honest. Cody was the mastermind. Those other three guys are too fucking stupid to come up with shit like this on their own. They're too fucking stupid. Because if they were smart enough to do it on their own, they would have done it on their own. And ever since Cody left AEW, you've seen what it's become. So clearly, Cody was the brains of the operation. So Cody does the All-In show, wins the NWA World title that his father held before. Eventually, Nick Aldis won it back. And then AEW gets created. And Cody is part of AEW. And he has a great run as a TNT champion. Booked himself into a situation where he could never become world champion there. Tried to carry the company to new heights. Fans booed him out of the building. Fans didn't like him. They felt he was Hollywood or whatever. And then he decides to leave AEW. He said he left over a personal issue. Won't say what it is unless he's under an NDA and he can't say it. I don't know. But he eventually leaves AEW and comes back to WWE with the American Nightmare gimmick, with the entrance music that he had, coming home as the prodigal son. And this time he is ready to main event because he reinvented himself on the outside. So Cody already had the story. Even with the pectoral injury, he still had the story. He came back at the Rumble, won the Rumble, was ready to go to WrestleMania. And of course, Roman wins at WrestleMania 39. A lot of fans are pissed off, except for the ones who felt that Cody didn't struggle enough. And then it's like, okay, what are we going to do now? And we see Cody go through the struggles again. The feud with Brock Lesnar, the feud with the Judgment Day, the War Games, winning the Rumble again, back to back. The whole concept of them possibly kicking him to the curb and bringing in The Rock versus Roman, which some fans wanted to see that. A lot of fans didn't, to the point where fans were not only chanting, "We want Cody," but that stare down with The Rock and Roman Reigns on SmackDown is the most disliked video in the history of WWE's YouTube channel. The most disliked video. So clearly, the metrics are showing fans don't want this. And it's not that we didn't want to see The Rock and Roman Reigns. We'd love to see that match, but not at the expense of Cody finishing his story and anointing a new champion. Because let me tell you something for all the Rock Roman fans that wanted to see this fucking match. All you would have got out of it was a match. That's it. It's a one and done. And it just fulfills some instant gratification. Because first of all, you have to count on the fact that that match is going to be great. You don't know for sure if it's going to be. You don't know for sure if a match is going to deliver until they ring the freaking bell. Don't believe me? Look at AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. Everybody and their mother thought that was going to steal the show. They saw what happened at Wrestle Kingdom in New Japan and thought you were going to see the same damn thing. And what happened? It stunk out the joint. It bombed. It sucked. It was a terrible fucking match. The crowd couldn't have given a fuck less about AJ Styles and Nakamura at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. They did not care. No one gave a fuck. You know who did steal the show that night? Ronda Rousey. She stole the show that night. In that tag match with her and Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie. I know Ronda's not a fan favorite right now, but on that night, oh God, she was the MVP of that WrestleMania. But no one gave a fuck about Styles and Nakamura that night. And also, here's the other thing. Regardless of whether The Rock beat Roman or Roman beat The Rock, guess what? Both of them would have been gone. Roman would still be champion, and he'd still be off TV, and you'd still have a company without a champion on one show. And for what? Just to break Hogan's record? First of all, he already beat Hogan's record for most main events. And second of all, nothing positive would come out of that. Because even if he beat Hogan's record, guess what? He's only in third place for longest title reigns. Because Bob Backlund's got 6 and Bruno Sammartino stands on top with 8. So that would be a waste of fucking time just to give Roman the third place spot to beat Hogan. And the only reason people do that is because all the marks hate Hulk Hogan. Despite the fact that he is the foundation for everything that exists in wrestling today. Without Hulkamania, Vince McMahon would not have had a billion-dollar company that would later get bought out by TKO or whatever. But the point is, the foundation for everything was Hogan. Without Hulkamania, there's no Austin 316. Without Austin 316, there's no Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect. Without Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect, there is no Cody Rhodes. What do you want to talk about? Undesirable, undeniable, undisputed. That's the foundation. And also, let me tell you the difference between Hogan and Roman right now. Roman Reigns, as great of a character and wrestler as he is, wasn't even close to having the impact on the business that Hogan did. And also, not only did Hogan defend the title more often, but here's the other thing. When Hogan was champ from 84 to 88, that title reign never once got stale. The fans were never bored. The fans were never angry. At no point did Hogan win a match and the fans went, oh, this shit again. That never happened. With Roman, it started happening a lot. There are so many times that Roman could have lost that title. He should have lost it at WrestleMania 37 to Edge in a one-on-one match when it was 10 years to the day that he surrendered the world title from that neck injury. You could have had John Cena beat him to become the 17-time world champion. You could have had Seth Rollins beat him to win that belt. Drew McIntyre could have won at Clash of the Castle and took it there. You had so many opportunities on multiple occasions for Roman to lose that title, and you never capitalized on it until now. So there were chances to do it. You see, when everybody else beats a record, they're beating the guy number 1. When Gunther became the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, he was number 1. He beat the Honky Tonk Man. And some people want to do it because of the controversy surrounding Hogan, which is another stupid reason. Because I got news for you. The fabulous Moolah, she's got skeletons in her closet. Would you like to beat her record too? You got a woman on that roster that you'd like to see be champion for 28 years? Because that's the reign, ladies and gentlemen. Fabulous Moolah was the women's champion for 28 years. What wrestler you know is going to hold a women's title for 28 years? For Christ's sake, Rhea Ripley couldn't pull that off, and she's the most over woman on the roster. So the reasons for wanting to break that record was stupid. It was time to end it, and Cody was the right guy. Because if The Rock and Roman had that one-on-one match, both men would have been gone afterwards, and nothing would have came from it. And The Rock was smart enough to know that. That's why he pivoted the whole damn thing and said, hey, let's do this tag match. I'm going to turn heel. I'm going to tell this story. We're going to give Cody ultra adversity, which is why it worked. He had to struggle with this newfound bloodline. The Rock whooping him, beating his ass, the blood, cussing him out, whipping him like a dog, the tag match, Rock bottoming Cody, the match becoming bloodline rules, Cody having to overcome one last time, Roman hitting Seth with the chair instead of Cody. Just everything that you could put into a story came together, and they wrapped it up. Because I already said, they got away with it once. They weren't going to get away with it twice. And also, by Cody finishing the story, not only does the title reign come to an end, that was already getting stale, Roman can now take time off and eventually come back. The Rock's eventually going to come back, and he's going to feud with Cody. So we got that to look forward to. Cody has other challengers that he can face. There's a draft coming up. If it hasn't happened already by the time this comes out, there'll be more things to work with there. And not only that, but now the title's being defended more frequently, you can build somebody else up to eventually take the belt from Cody when the time is right. And this was essential for Triple H, because now Vince McMahon is gone, which means if anything goes wrong in WWE, Triple H is getting the blame. He gets all the praise when things are good. He gets all the hate when things are bad. Because no matter whose decision was backstage, anytime something bad happened in wrestling, they just blame Vince McMahon. It could have been a Triple H mistake, and we would never know it because everybody would just blame Vince. He had Vince to lean on if things went south. He doesn't have that no more. Triple H had to do something to make us trust in him that this is a new time, this is a new era, and that this era of WWE is going to be an era that we can be proud of. The Paul Levesque era. Even though he's not calling it that, everyone else is calling it that. But guess what? The Paul Levesque era, the Triple H era, now has the trust of the fans. And it's like I said, if you saw me on the Male Soap Opera Moment, we're not going to get everything we want in wrestling. There's going to be moments that are going to upset and disappoint us. But at least now we know if there is something we really want, there's a very strong chance we're going to get it. Because they're listening now. They're really listening now. And this time, the fans had a complaint that was actually valid. That was actually going to change the course of the business. And now we have a champion we can be proud of. Now we have new stories that we can build up to. And Cody was able to establish himself as the top babyface that WWE desperately needs right now. Because we've had a heel running roughshod. Now we need a babyface. And Cody is now proven to be that babyface. And I, for one, am excited. For the first time in a long time, I'm excited to see what happens in WWE. I actually look forward to watching Monday Night Raw. I actually look forward to watching Friday Night SmackDown. I'm actually excited for the future of WWE. Because now I know that it's being run the proper way. And it's a new time. And it's truly great. And I love the fact that Cody got to finish the story. I love the emotion behind all of it. Can't hand the title to my dad, but I can hand it to my mom. And The Rock being a great heel through all of this. Once he got past the bullshit catchphrases and started getting down the nitty gritty, things got better. I mean, Cody's story is probably the greatest story ever told in wrestling, at least in the modern era. And it's a story people are going to remember. And now that there's a new chapter in it that's even better than before, it now has the fans' attention. Something that WWE hadn't had in a very long time. And that'll wrap up this episode of Booch Shoots On. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you don't miss another episode of Booch Shoots On, as well as other additional Vinny Bucci YouTube content. Talk to you guys next time. Until then, pizza, baby!